Namaste, everyone. Welcome to Yin and Restorative Yoga. My name is Michelle Chua, and for this practice, you'll want to have, as you see behind me, 2 blocks, a strap, a blanket, and a bolster. You may want to elevate your pelvis on one of those items or a stack of them as we are focusing physically on opening up the inner and outer thighs in what's called hip openers, so external rotation, and some twists, getting into the lower back as we're focusing on the sacral energy center. We also had a request to open up all throughout the legs, so we'll include that too. So let's find a comfortable way to sit where you can begin to turn out your thighs, some sort of cross-legged position that you can comfortably sit up tall and relaxed in. Take a moment to mentally transition into your yoga practice, setting aside anything that doesn't need your attention right now, like silencing phones and things like that. So, sacral energy center. Where is it located? There's a word sacrum, right? So lower back, lower belly region, above the base of the spine, below the belly button. You might even just touch that area as we talk about it. The Sanskrit word is Svadhisthana chakra, translated sometimes as the seat of the self, the seat of the self. And when energy is flowing in balance here, you are connected to your emotions in a healthy manner. You allow yourself to process even the difficult emotions, and you are in relationship with others in a healthy manner. It's also about your sexuality and creative flow. The element of the earth is water. So think of the ways that you are able to open up your perspective and adapt to different situations, especially when unexpected things happen, not according to your plans. How do you go with the flow and adopt the quality of water? Also, it has to do with your childlike sense of play, your ability to allow yourself to get out of that adulting zone from time to time and to let yourself fall, roll over, laugh, lean into pleasure and joy, and find what some people call the opposite of triggers, glimmers. So where triggers emotionally jar us to have that fight, flight, freeze, collapse, stress response of the nervous system, the glimmers do the opposite. They bring us a sense of joy. They spark a sense of security and safety and love for being alive. So in what ways do you look around for glimmers? So just a little bit about it. We'll infuse some more as we move through the asana practice. Let's take a moment to check in with ourselves. You might close your eyes and begin to notice where you feel your body talking the most right now through any pronounced sensation. Bringing an attitude of care and curiosity and non-judgment. As you scan throughout the inner landscape of your physical body. Observing where you might feel tension, stiffness, pressure, openness, lightness, spaciousness, stability. Sense the flow of the breath without changing or controlling how you're breathing. Notice anything you can feel about it, like the depth, fluidity, the pace. Letting the breath inform you of how you're feeling right now energetically overall. Notice how you're feeling mentally. Where is your attention drawn? Is it here in your body, in this space, sitting in your practice, or Is your attention entangled in a looping story of the past or planning something for the future? Just observe without judging yourself. Notice any emotions that are swimming through you at this moment. Even observe if they are seemingly paradoxical emotions such as anger and joy, worry and calm. Especially in honor of balancing your sacral energy, can you hold them all without having to resist change or judge them as right or wrong? Now I invite you to let the breath in a little slower. Opening your mouth, releasing any sound that wants to move through. Breathing in a little deeper. Vocalizing if you'd like. Exhale again through the mouth. Let a few more exhales release through your mouth as you deepen each in-breath a little bit more. Continuing that, I invite you to call to mind in what ways you've experienced joy today. In what ways you have felt a sense of peace or vibrancy. Did you detect any glimmers in your day? And if not today, how about this past week? Allowing gratitude to awaken our hearts and our minds as we begin our practice of union, yoga. As you begin to define your intention for today's practice, is there any area in your life in which you would like to promote a sense of flow, ability to adapt to change, invite creativity, especially for creating solutions? Is there any area in life in which you would like to enrich relationship, promote harmony, play, joy, pleasure? Or even in the area of sexuality, which the Sacral Energy Center also relates to. So setting your intention or personal prayer for this practice. And then invite you to think of somebody else that you would like to offer loving kindness to. Maybe dedicating today's practice to them. As we open the practice, I invite you to chant with me the Bija mantra, or the seed sound that awakens energy flow at Svadhisthana chakra. The color frequency you might visualize there at your lower belly, lower back is orange, a vibrant, like the fruit, juicy orange, as we chant Vam 3 times, Vam. So let in a deep breath. Vam. And so imagine breathing into your sacral energy region, lower belly, lower back, inhaling and letting the breath expand all throughout your torso, very top of the breath, Close the lips, softly narrow the back of the throat, and gently whisper the breath equally long out through the nose, beginning to balance and lengthen in breath and out breath. And as you softly constrict or gently narrow the back of your throat, invite the sound of water, peaceful ocean waves, whispering the breath in and out through the nose. Fine-tuning it as you listen to a few more cycles sitting here. So that invites the qualities of flow, fluidity, calm, easefulness, steadiness, focus. I invite you now just to start to move to that sound of breath by circling the torso to one side as you inhale, exhaling to the other side. So nice and slow. Feel free to circle at your own pace. One direction a few times, opposite direction a few times. Maybe more organically, like figure eights, or maybe even just circling out the shoulders as well, or any other part of your body that could use some gentle movement here to begin loosening up. Feel into your neck, your jaw. Your wrists, your ankles. Few more cycles of breath. And besides hip openers, we'll also infuse quite a few spinal twists as we bring release into the sacrum, the lower back. If you're sitting cross-legged still, I invite you to switch the cross of your legs to invite a balanced stretch in both hips. And come back to center, sitting tall, rooting the pelvis left and right sides down. Breathing in, reach the arms overhead, interlace your fingers and flip the palms inside out. Draw the shoulder blades down and start to side bend. Doesn't matter which side. One direction, just a few breaths. As you lean your torso in one direction, press the opposite sitting bone more firmly towards the earth. Let the shoulders continue to relax downward, away from the neck. As you press the heels of your palms away from you, one more deep breath. Inhale, rise up, and then exhale, maybe switch the interlacing of thumb and index, side bend to the opposite direction, rooting the opposite side of the pelvis down more firmly. And continue to lengthen all the sides of the neck. Pressing the heels of your palms away from you. One more full cycle of breath. Inhale, come up to center. And let's straighten your left leg in front of you. Bend the right knee and step the right foot on the ground in front of your right hip. Take hold of your right knee with both hands. And if you find that it's challenging to lengthen your spine upright, continue to prop your pelvis up, maybe on your folded blanket. Flex your left foot, curl the toes back towards the shin, press down firmly through the sole of your right foot and your two sitting bones. And as you inhale, lift and lengthen through the center of your spine. Draw the shoulders slightly back and down. Keep your chin parallel to the ground. And then backstroke the right hand, exhaling as you begin to turn the rib cage little by little to the right. Each inhale, pause where you are, press downward and lift upward. And each exhale, keep the pelvis and legs still. Invite your rib cage to continue rotating, even if only by intention. You might stretch your neck by gazing over your right shoulder. Just about 2 more deep breaths. Drop your right knee open. And bring the sole of your right foot high against your inner left thigh. You may like to place a strap around the ball of your left foot as an extension of your arms in order to give your shoulders more space to relax down, if that helps. Kick into the strap with your left foot while flexing the left foot. Press your 2 sitting bones down. If you're using a strap, hold it with both hands with enough slack to keep relaxing the shoulders. Lift up through the back of your skull and to your sternum at the middle of your chest. As you exhale, hinge from your hips just a little bit at a time, aiming your sternum towards your left pinky toe. As you inhale, pause. Press downward through the pelvis, stretch the spine from the hips. Keep the shoulders relaxed, throat open, and maybe you continue to fold. Just finding the degree that is a gentle stretch into the lower back. Maybe the left calf and hamstring feel this. Maybe your right outer hip feels this. Basically, though a posture may target a certain area of the body to release tension, wherever you're holding the most tension will probably feel it the most. So last 2 breaths in Janu Shirshasana, head to knee pose. Pressing downward through the pelvis, lead from your chest and breathe in to slowly rise up. Relax the left foot, maybe even shake it out or circle it out, and slide your right leg forward to straight. Flex the right foot, curling the toes back towards the shin as you bend the left knee. Step the sole of the left foot flat on the earth and take hold of the knee with both hands. Root your 2 sitting bones downward as you breathe in to lift from the base of your spine to the crown of your head. Shoulders relaxed. Exhale, the left hand behind you on the floor, turning the rib cage just a little bit each exhalation to the left. Inhale, pause, press downward into the earth, rise a little taller towards the sky. Keep your pelvis and legs still as you breathe out. Invite your rib cage to keep turning. Maybe you look over the left shoulder, stretching your neck as you keep the chin about parallel to the ground and soften the chin towards the back of your throat. One more deep breath. Exhaling as you unwind, drop your left knee open and bring the sole of your left foot high up against your inner right thigh. If it might help, use a strap, place it around the ball of your right foot, flex as you kick into the strap with that foot. Give yourself enough slack to be able to relax the shoulders back and down, and then press the pelvis down, and again, inhale to lift and lengthen your spine. Keep your throat open, chest slightly lifted, and exhale as you hinge just a little bit, aiming your sternum towards your right pinky toe. Pausing as you inhale to firm downward towards the earth while stretching the spine from your hips. One more deep breath. Press downward through the pelvis, lift upward through the chest, breathing in to rise. Let's put the strap aside and let's come into some more gentle movement. Let's meet in child's pose with your feet together, touching at the rear of your mat and your knees wide, as wide apart as it's comfortable for you. So we can also open the hips a bit here. Let your pelvis sink all the way back and down towards your heels. If you've got any knee issues and your pelvis is way up here, you could grab your folded blanket and place it up against the backs of your knees to give your knees support. And you can also be resting the pelvis on that blanket like this, making the folded blanket as thick as you need support. So extend the arms forward, draw the hips back and down. Let the shoulder blades glide down your back ribs as you lengthen the crown of your head forward, creating spaciousness across the tops of your shoulders and the length of your neck. Feel and hear the ocean wave sound in your breath. And listen for the very top of the inhalation and the very bottom of the exhalation. If you're feeling a monkey mind today, where the thoughts just seem to be popping up one after another and it's just a lot in your head, really get into the sound of the breath and try to simplify your focus, resting your mind by resting your attention on the simplicity of inhale and exhale, letting the sound soothe your mind. We're going to start to move to that sound, so press down with the palms. And your next inhale, sway your pelvis to your right side and start to circle laterally towards the front of your mat. Exhale, sway your pelvis to the left side and sink your hips back to your heels in child's pose. Try a few more times. You can go in this direction, the opposite direction. Play with listening to just how your body wants to move. You can change this up. This is just an initial movement for you to explore from. You could add a little bit of, I don't know, a twist. Look over the shoulder behind you, opposite shoulder. Shimmy the shoulders. Maybe you add some traditional cat-cows or an extended version where you drop the hips to child's pose. And then you rock forward into cow, rolling the shoulders back. Let's keep going for another 5 to 7 deep breaths of exploring. So think of the attitude of play when you've allowed yourself the freedom to play. What qualities does that bring up? And if I brainstorm out loud, for me it's letting go, not attaching to how something has to look like or the rigidity of a confined outcome, which then opens up to the grace of infinite possibilities. Letting go of the pressure of having to conform to a certain expectation. Bringing joy into the present moment, which allows us to immerse our attention deeper in the present moment. All right, when you have circled and flowed enough times here, please start to make your way into downward facing dog, which can be practiced. Here are a couple of options with knees on the floor, shins parallel, hips distance apart, and you're bowing forward, lifting the belly slightly so as not to dump into the lower back, but try to create a flat back. The other is the more traditional, where you lift the hips higher and draw the thigh bones back, also trying to create the feeling of a flat back. Either way, see if you can explore some movement in your version of downward dog. So if your hips are really high in the classical version, you might pedal out your feet, which in turn stretches the muscles in the backs of your legs, like your calves, your hamstrings. Along with the pedaling, you might swivel your hips left and right, which can stretch out your outer hips and the sides of your torso. You might also shake and nod the head, really trying to relax your neck, relax your jaw. And perhaps you make some sounds through the mouth to bring some ease into that area or flutter the lips. As you press your hands downward, inhale, raise your right leg up towards the sky. Exhale, bend the right knee and rotate the thigh externally. Turn it out at the hip. Stay here as you inhale to draw the left outer hip back. And very gently exhale, step the right foot forward beside your right thumb. Lower the left knee, come into a kneeling lunge. Keep your back toes tucked. As you frame your front ankle with your fingertips, feel free to prop your hands on blocks at whatever height allows you to breathe well and relax the shoulders, lengthen the neck. So have your legs hips distance apart, and as you breathe in, allow your pelvis to sink towards the earth as your heart rises, gaze up. Keep your feet where they are and exhale, lift your left knee, draw your right outer hip back to whatever degree you can comfortably straighten both legs and bow as if you have a flat back. Let's create this into a flow. Inhale, lower the back knee, kneeling lunge, look up. Exhale, lift the back knee, scissor the right hip back, folding in, pyramid pose. 3 more. Inhale, kneeling lunge. Exhale, pyramid pose. Now I'm just cueing the breath, so go as slow as you're breathing. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And lower the back knee. Let's step the right foot out to the right side, and we'll come into lizard lunge. Bringing more attention into the pelvis, the sacrum. So feel free to prop your hands on blocks at the height that you may need. Both hands are on the inner side, the left side of the right foot, as you've slid the right foot about 5 more inches or so to the right. Make sure that your right knee is just on top of the right ankle, but it's not over bending in front of the ankle. Now, you can untuck the back toes if you need some cushion under the left knee. Either fold your mat on the left side or place a blanket under the knee. So hands can be on the ground, or you can place the forearms down if that's comfortable. You're going to be here for about 10 breaths. Now, if you'd like to get a bit more opening into the area of your IT band, which is from your outer knee, outer thigh to outer hip, flex your right foot by curling the toes up towards the right shin while splaying your right thigh open just enough where you're leaning the outside edge of the right foot into the ground without rotating onto the outer ankle, without collapsing and sickling the foot. And you can be right here. You can bend the left knee and see if you could reach hold of the foot with your right hand, adding a stretch into the front muscle of your left thigh, which is your quadricep, as well as opening up the front of your right shoulder. So you've got a lot of options. Choose from this buffet and then stick to your choice if it feels comfortable in your body. And let's listen to about 5 or so more deep breaths. Listen to the emptiness at the bottom of the next exhalation before you gently unwind from the posture. You might slide the blocks aside and ease your way back to your version of downward facing dog. And this time you might just drop into stillness and scan your body for whatever sensations are happening right now. Just a couple deep breaths. Then as you press your hands into the earth, inhale, sweep your left leg towards the sky. Exhale, bend the left knee and turn out your left thigh at the hip. Staying there, inhale, tack your right hip back. Exhale as you softly step the left foot forward beside your left thumb. Lower your right knee, but keep the right toes tucked, and feel free to place any cushion you might need under the right knee. Frame your left ankle with hands on blocks or the ground. See what your shoulders need to be able to breathe well and to lengthen your neck. Kneeling lunge. Breathe in, sink your hips, lift your heart. Breathe out, lift the right knee, and begin to straighten the legs by scissoring the left hip back. Just go to your capacity where it's comfortable as you fold like you have a flat back. Pyramid pose. Inhale, kneeling lunge, look up. Exhale, pyramid pose, bow, but slightly lift your chest. Inhale, kneeling lunge. Exhale, pyramid pose. Now I'm just cueing the breath, so listen to yours. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Lower the back knee, untuck the back toes, and scoot your left foot to your left side, maybe another 5 or so inches for lizard lunge. Placing both hands on the right side of your front foot, either on blocks or the ground. Maybe you come down to your forearms with or without the blocks. See what's available on this side of your hips. Make sure that your front knee is bending just above the ankle, but not in front of it. And if you're going into the IT band area stretch, flex your left foot while splaying your left thigh open, just enough to lean the outer edge of your left foot on the earth without sickling the foot or rolling onto the ankle. And if it's available on this side, you could add the stretch for the front of your right thigh, your quadricep, by bending your right knee. You could stay there. You could also try backstroking the left arm and catching hold of your right foot with your left hand, slowly bringing it towards you. Listen to your breathing, and let's tune in for maybe 5 or more deep breaths. Take your time to feel the very bottom of the next exhalation. And when you have, slowly begin to make your way back to one last downward facing dog, your version, of course. Pausing there to observe your body and breath, about 2 cycles of breath. Notice if anything feels different since the first downward dog of this practice. Set your knees onto the ground. And let's lean back onto your calves. If this does not feel comfortable on your knees, once again, you can take a folded blanket and place it right up against the backs of your knees. And you could also place a block to sit on between your ankles, elevating your pelvis so your knees bend less. If this is comfortable, sitting right on your calves, pointing the toes back, we're going to stretch into the shin area of the lower legs and the tops of the feet and ankles. So here are a couple of options. You can place your left hand down and use your right hand to gently lift the right knee. So you're stretching into the top of the foot, maybe 5 breaths, and then switch legs. Or like a rocking chair, place the fingertips behind you and lean back to lift both at the same time for about 10 breaths. So choose and count on your own. This is one of my favorite yin stretches right after running, or if you flex your feet a lot, this is the opposite. If you wear high heels, which I don't, this can also help. Notice the sensations. Are they coming and going? Are they stagnant, sort of the same all throughout, from one breath to another? Do you feel movement in the body? Such as energy moving. And then when you're ready, gently set your shins on the ground and just sit up tall for a couple deep breaths. Just observe anything there is to notice internally. Unlike vinyasa flow, yin yoga is much about slowing down and allowing moments of pause, stillness, and bringing your attention there. Let's start to slide the legs forward again, placing a strap off to the side near the rear of your mat. And having your bolsters, blankets, blocks within arm's reach near the rear of your mat, just in case, while you lie down onto your back. Lying on your back, bend your right knee into your chest. Take hold of your right thigh or shin and just take a moment to maybe circle your right foot around. If any kind of movement, you can also rotate the right thigh bone at the hip socket in different directions or rock a little side to side. Just feel into what your body's asking for. Only a few breaths. Now let's step the ball of your right foot either into a strap like this so that you can extend the leg straight up to whatever degree of straight. Or if you can reach while keeping your shoulders grounded, you could use your right peace fingers, the index and middle, to clasp your big toe and extend the right leg straight up. See what's available for you. Now flex both your feet, curl the toes back towards the shins, and place your left palm on the top of your left thigh, pressing downwards so that the back of your left hip stays on the ground throughout this next posture, hand to big toe pose. From your right hip socket, like you're turning a doorknob before you open the door, turn out your right thigh bone at the hip. So rotate the leg from the hip socket so your right knee begins to point towards your right wall. Then, keeping the left hip, shoulders on the ground, begin to open the door or abduct the right leg, which means move it away from the midline of your body, breath by breath. As you're doing this, think of drawing your right outer hip forward towards your inner left foot so as not to compress or shorten the right side of your torso, but rather lengthen it as long as the left side. So this is the supine version of the pose, Supta Uttita Hasta Parangushtasana. Sense how the way you're regulating your breathing is affecting how your body's receiving this posture, this asana. Is it resisting it? Is it opening up to it? Without judging, good or bad, just observe. Last 2 deep breaths here. Start to lift the right leg upright. Bend both knees and cross the right thigh over the left thigh, hugging the thighs as close together as you can while splaying your feet away from each other. Take hold with your hands, your outer feet, if that's hard to reach, your outer shins, otherwise, backs of your thighs. Keep the back of your pelvis, like your tailbone region and your shoulders, on the ground. You could also use something under your head, like a folded blanket if needed. And breath by breath, invite your thighs closer to your belly as you allow the feet to splay wider apart. Supta Gomukhasana, supine cow phase pose. Notice where you're feeling this posture the most. What would it feel like to imagine breathing into that area or those areas? Couple more deep breaths. Now, keeping the cross of your legs, lower your arms out to the side so they're out of the way of your legs and scoot your pelvis maybe about 3 to 5 more inches towards the right edge of your mat to prepare for a spinal twist. Make sure the right shoulder stays grounded here as you open the right arm to the right. You could stretch your neck by looking past the right shoulder. Then lift your feet and very slowly drop your knees to your left side. And here's where you might use those props that your hands can reach for. You can place them underneath your outer left thigh if you need something to lean your legs on in order to keep the right shoulder grounded. Feeling into your breath. You might add, for a deeper release in the lower back, placing your left hand on your right outer hip. And as you exhale, press your right outer hip towards the front edge of your mat. One more clearing exhalation, maybe even a sigh you can hear. Gently roll onto your back, stretch the legs on the floor uncrossed, stretch the arms overhead, and give yourself a moment, whether you need to move it out or just be still, to observe after this posture. When you're ready, keep your right leg straight on the ground and bend the left knee towards you. Catching hold of your thigh or shin, explore a few movements on your own, like rocking the left thigh side to side or circling it at the hip, or flexing and pointing the left foot or circling it. Now choose to either step the ball of your left flexed foot into a strap, or if you can reach while keeping the shoulders and head down, clasp your left big toe with your left peace fingers. Place your right palm on the top of your right thigh, grounding the back of your right hip. With both feet flexed, begin to spin out or rotate your left thigh bone at the hip so that the left knee begins pointing towards the left wall. Then slowly open the left leg or abduct it, moving it away from the midline of your body, breath by breath. Draw your left outer hip forward so that you're lengthening, not shortening, the left side of your torso here. Supta Uttita Hasta Padangushtasana, supine hand to big toe pose. One more long exhalation here. Then gently lift the left leg up. And let's bend both knees. Cross the left thigh over the right thigh and hug the thighs as close together as you can. Invite your feet to splay apart. Keep your pelvis, shoulders, and head down. And with your hands, reach to hold either your outer feet, shins, or backs of your thighs. breath by breath, drawing the thighs towards the belly as you continue splaying your feet wide apart in supine cow face pose, Supta Gomukhasana. After this exhalation, open up your arms, especially the left arm wide on the ground. Scoot your hips another 3 to 5 inches towards the left edge of your mat. Keeping the shape of your legs, begin to drop your knees slowly to the right. Remember, you could catch your legs with blocks or whatever props you may need to make sure the left shoulder stays on the ground. You might gaze past it. And if you'd like to deepen the release in your lower back, place your right palm on your left outer hip. And as you breathe out, press the left outer hip forward. And after this exhalation, gently unwind onto your back. Once again, stretch the legs forward, reach the arms overhead. Allow a few breaths to observe your body. What's it saying right now? Gather your knees towards your chest and feel free to play with any movement that invites a sense of fluidity, especially in the area of your pelvis, your sacrum, your lower belly. This could also be stepping your feet on the ground and just gently lifting the pelvis up and down to the breath in moving bridge pose. Or you could windshield wiper the shins with the pelvis on the floor. Just a few more deep breaths of play and going with the flow, embodying the element of water. And when you're ready, set a block or two wide across the mat underneath your sacrum, the flat part of your lower back. Arriving at your choice of either supported bridge pose, stretching the fronts of the hips, the lower belly as you keep your feet parallel, hips distance apart on the ground, tilting the chin back as you open the throat and chest, or raising the legs up into supported shoulder stand. Just inviting the blood to flow down from the feet, downward towards the pelvis, towards the heart. Only a few last breaths here. And then very gently remove any blocks from under your body. Lower your pelvis slowly onto the ground. And as we set up for Shavasana, here is an invitation, which you could opt out of. is to set up with a block under each outer thigh as you drop your knees apart, soles of the feet come together in supine bound angle pose like this. And if your knees naturally land on the ground, then you can just not place anything under your outer knees. So see what comfortable way you can position your body to receive stillness and rest. Closing your eyes, I invite you to allow a moment to slowly breathe into your sacrum, lower back, lifting the breath slowly as it expands up your torso, holding the breath at the top for a few seconds, as long as you comfortably can. You might even play with sipping in a little more breath. And then as slowly as you can, even slower than the in-breath, empty it through the mouth and see if you can allow your body to relax more deeply as you breathe out. Trying it one more time when you're ready. Filling up from the sacrum, lower belly, all the way up the torso, all around, front, back, sides, holding the breath in, maybe sipping in a little more, and then as slow as possible, even slower than the in-breath, open the lips and gently exhale everything out. And as you breathe out, letting go of any gripping, any contraction, any part of your body that's still trying to hold on to something. Let the bones in your body submit to gravity, just sinking into the earth. And then consciously release control of the breath. Rest your awareness on the feeling of the breath coming in and out. Let the stillness of your body invite you into your inner stillness. Shavasana. As you continue to rest where you are in Shavasana, with eyes still closed, sense anything you may feel around your sacral energy center. Lower belly, lower back, even the sides of that region. Whether physical sensations or energy shifts, emotions, anything. And from there, continue to scan throughout your physical body, noticing how it's responding to your yoga practice so far. Very gently begin to wake up your body, starting with small, subtle movements, such as wiggling fingers and toes, or gently turning the head. Ease into simple stretches. You might place the hands on your outer thighs to draw the knees towards each other. Taking your time to gradually turn over onto your right side and rest your head, coming into a fetal position. Notice the quality of your breath. Sense any way you have affected the way your energy feels. As you're ready, take your time lifting your body up. Find a comfortable way to sit for our 5 minutes sitting in meditation. Let your body position in a grounding posture that supports a feeling of alertness and relaxation. One mudra that you might practice, which invites balance of the 5 elements of the earth that's moving through us: earth, water, air, fire, ether, is to bring the fingertips of each opposite hand together as if you're holding a sphere between the palms and just letting the hands hover comfortably in front of the area of the sacral energy center. And choosing whatever hand position invites you to deeper concentration. You might also close your eyes, continuing to sense the breath flowing in and out naturally. Cultivating an attitude of care and curiosity and non-judgment as you witness where your attention goes. As you witness anything that may come and go. If you discover your attention entangled into thoughts and stories, disentangle yourself. And allow yourself to rest back into witnessing the simplicity of the breath, which is happening now. How does your mind feel right now? How are you feeling emotionally? How has your practice of yoga affected you today? Invite you to allow a moment of gratitude. Anyone, anything you can hold in your heart with the embrace of appreciation. Gratitude to you for showing up and following through with your practice today, and gratitude to my teachers and their teachers and those before them who have passed down the tradition of yoga that we may benefit from it today. I invite you to revisit your intention or personal prayer. In what ways might you continue to water that seed throughout your evening, day, or week? And remember to whom you dedicated today's practice. As we close chanting the Bija Mantra for your Svadhisthana chakra, the seed sound of your sacral energy center, you might bring your mind's eye to your lower belly, lower back, visualizing the color orange, brightly glowing. And with each chant, allowing it to expand and illuminate within and around you. That feeling of joy, creative flow. The seed sound is Vam. Now let's chant that together 3 times to close. Breathing in. Vam. 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 And bowing in, honoring the light within. As we honor that in each other when we say namaste. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste.